Sinclair?
Come on, Sinclair, get it together. Oh, damn it.
Don't forget the helmet.
Yep.
He's still kicking.
You can tell they beat the hell out of him though.
Holy
shit! To get him back. Yeah, you know, it's really funny as like veterans, well, a veteran, you're a little further back than me, but like veterans of anime, we automatically know, wait a minute, there's still like a good couple of minutes left. There's a post-credit scene here.
Yeah, I could tell when I saw like, ooh, post-credit scene.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, welcome back to a new episode of Busted Musket Productions Animation, the only anime show that... God, I'm tired. Anyway, no, an anime show where we talk about shows that could appeal to the wider audience. And in this episode...
I was about to protest like, whiter? I thought we were for all diversity here.
No, wider. No. Unlike... Just like genlock, we kill off the white American character in the beginning so the cast can be very diverse.
I actually kind of liked Sinclair.
Yeah, no, I liked Sinclair, even though I wonder if this Sinclair is going to be different compared to the one we saw in the opening.
Yeah.
Because I just found it funny that with that one, though, like, yeah, okay, so we have an Asian man, a Pakistani woman, a Russian non-binary, a black man, and then a little Scottish girl. Okay, let's kill off a white American dude. Because fun. And just saying genlock, where the hell was the Latina? The Latino representation in the team.
Well, Sergio was in there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, now they have Sergio. They have Sergio, and then they have, what's the name? The colonel being, the commander, who I'm pretty sure is a white woman voicing her. It's Monica Rial.
Yep.
But I don't know if it's, if she's full white or like half. Because Miles Luna, I was very offended when I heard that he was voicing Negus. Because I'm like, Miles is white. And then I look up and it's like, oh wait, no, he's half. Okay, you get past this one. But if you look at Miles Luna, photos of him, he is a very white man. But anyway, guys, yes, it is a brand new episode, and today we are talking about the Rooster Teeth animated series, Genlock, which, according to Gigug, people have accepted Castlevania as an anime, and this is damn well a show that we need to also give the name of anime. Ooh,
Oh, my dad.
door's knocking.
Hold on.
Come on.
Hey, ba. Hey, hi.
So,
¿Cómo me parqué afuera porque está cerrado, porque está bloqueado aquí cuando llegué.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, where were we? Okay, yeah, so we are talking about why we need to indoctrinate freaking genlock into the hall of anime, because I know right now that fight's probably going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an anime because they're not in Japanese. It's not in Japanese.
Yeah, hey, you got the guy from you got Spike in there already.
Yeah.
That already wins my vote.
Yeah, you have Koichi Yamadera in there, where all of his dialogue is in Japanese. So, we'll pick Rooster Teeth. Genlock is a Rooster Teeth animated series created in 2019. Well, technically 2018 was the original release date. But was pushed back. It was created by Rooster Teeth's head of animation, Gray G. Haddock, who also voices Leon in the show, and is also known as Roman Torchwick in Ruby, before that character was killed off in season 3. The show centers on 5 young pilots who are selected to pilot these giant mechs called Holons, as they are in the middle of a losing war between the evil, against the evil Union, which
Stands for socialism and unionizing every worker out there.
Yep. Even if they don't want to, because if our tanks don't blow you up, they will apparently suck you into them.
Oh, dude, yeah. Dude, when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, man. Like, this is just indoctrinated. This is pretty much the Reapers all over again in Mass Effect. And everyone's being indoctrinated.
Yep. If we can kidnap you, we'll kidnap you. If not, then you'll just die when our nanoboats eat you alive, or we just shoot you. But yeah, I'm like, when I see that part where they shoot grappling hooks at that cop and they start dragging him inside the tank, I'm like, what the fuck are they taking him? But yeah, there's a lot of really disturbing things that the Union soldiers might just be brainwashed victims, which is why you never really hear them talk.
Yep, and that's like, I would 100% agree with you on that part. Just because, like, as we saw again, like, with that post-credit scene, I can imagine that might be it.
Yeah, and how he had to definitely stormtrooper it up, where it's like, okay, don't look out of place. Oh god, they can tell. But yeah, so it is a show. Grady Haddock, if anyone has kept up with, like what he does at Rooster Teeth, he's the head of animation. And he used to be on this show. I don't know if it got re-canceled again, but they have an anime talk show called Fan Service, where it was made and then canceled, and then Crunchyroll picked it up, and then they haven't had a new episode in almost a year. But he had revealed himself to be a huge Gundam fan. We're talking huge, like I know a lot of hardcore Gundam fans out there, Daniel being one of them, and he almost every Gundam fan can admit that Iron-Blooded Orphans is not, made for them.
Yeah.
Like, the audience is very different for that show, but Gray loves that show. Like, he bought all the mechs and is waiting for a non-lady-oriented figures for the male characters to come out. Because apparently the only figures of them that exist are them shirtless.
Oh!
Yeah. So he's waiting for like a more, not cringy version of them coming out. So anyway, the show centers on, the show also picked up notoriety when they announced that Michael B. Jordan would be voicing the main character, Julian Chase, and as the weeks went on, more characters started popping up, which Macy Williams from Game of Thrones fame.
Oh, I haven't watched that show.
Yeah, she is playing Callie McLeod. Dakota Fanning, and a lot of people will know that she's from damn near everything. She was everyone's daughter in the early 2000s. That's who Dakota Fanning was. She was every little girl. Even though I feel bad for her because her sister Elle Fanning and her younger sister Elle Fanning was revealed to be the better actress.
Oh.
Well, I do not think Dakota Fanning's a bad actress, but Dakota Fanning wasn't getting nominated for Oscars, I'm just saying. I think Elle Fanning's been nominated like twice already.
Damn.
You right? Little sister too, she was like the annoying little girl she's in Totoro. There. She's the little girl in Totoro.
Goddamn lollipops.
Yep. And then she was in Because of Winn-Dixie, which was the movie where a lot of people realized there was another Fanning girl because that girl was too young to be Dakota Fanning, but it sure as hell looked like her. But yeah, so sorry.
No, that was a good insight because I did not know that was her sister.
Yeah, I didn't know she had one until Super 8 came out, and they're like, oh yeah, that's Dakota Fanning's little sister. I'm like, what? But yeah, we have Dakota Fanning, we have David fucking Tennant, everyone's favorite doctor from Doctor Who, that was so good that a lot of people stopped watching the show after his season was done. But he played Dr. Rufus Rella. And then Koichi Yamadera, which a lot of people will recognize as Spike from the Japanese Cowboy Bebop dub, also voices a major character in here by the name of Kazu.
Oh, dude, when she called her that, I was like...
I'm like, why did I know they were gonna make a joke like this? Because she's stupid. But, it's Kazu.
I think his full name was like Kazuyama or something.
Yeah, Ito Kazuyana. Kazuyama. Sorry.
Yama like a mountain.
Yeah, because he is tough like one, and fucking crazy like one too.
Yep.
And then I'm so sorry to the other women in the show, but we also have two other characters by the name of Yasmin Majani and Valentina. Yeah, not even the show could.
Not even
pronounce her last name. Yeah, but
I will find her last name and pronounce it then. This is for all the all Russian comrades out there.
And I thought my friend's last name was really hard to pronounce. But anyway, let's see how we can do this because God damn it. But there might need to be a part 2 on this with people. Also, how's your schedule for tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm booked all day.
All day, okay. Because I'm like, we're not going to be able to do the measurements.
That's fine. Where are you? I will continue.
Oh, okay. So anyway, the show, and we're probably going to have to do a non-linear one, but I'll just give us the opening. So the show opens up with Julian Chase, a young black ace pilot, voiced of course by Michael B. Jordan, is having dinner with his mom, little sister, and he is introducing them to his new girlfriend, Miranda Worth, voiced by Dakota Fanning. Which, again, I really do. I was telling Luskacha earlier how old I feel because I'm like, yeah, she's old enough to be playing a grown adult now.
Yep.
Like a few years ago, she'd be Cammy's role. But yeah, no, she's playing a grown adult. But introducing her to dinner, the mom, of course, just doing everything in her power to embarrass him by telling a story of how he tried to rub a cookie in an open room and thinking it would help.
Dude, for me, I'm wondering how I even soldiered on. Like, kept going, like, Mom, it's not working. It's making it worse.
Yeah, it's infected and it's a piping. She even said a piping hot cookie straight out of the oven, so it's just like even worse.
God damn, man, this guy's something.
I know. They didn't even say how old he was. I'm like, they should have just been like, yeah, he was the silliest 13-year-old I have ever met. But, nothing with the thing I do enjoy about the show so far is how they show you how vast this world is. You see, even in the living room, if you pick this up, you see a little bit of Psycho-Pass being inspired.
Yeah, because of the way the room was projected and everything as well. And I remember that from Psycho-Pass, I was like, everybody pretty much designed it the way like they had the virtual thing. It was like just a basic room, and you can just decorate however you want by using digitalized images.
Yeah, and it took me. It wasn't until like the third watching I had of the show that I'm like, oh, this is Psycho-Pass. This is where this is from. I knew this was from something.
Ooh, speaking of which, I can do some research now.
Of what?
Of that one anime I'm trying to remember that this reminded me about.
Oh, did you get her name?
Yes, Valentina. Her name is Valentina Romanizini. Yeah, you can see even I'm having trouble.
But
Romanazzi.
Yeah, but
Something like that.
You do see like how unique this world is, where the daughter, Case's little sister is a streamer. She's like a online celebrity, where their versions of going on live is literally going into a virtual concert and lip syncing.
Dude, I was laughing so much when I saw that. I was like, oh wow.
I was like, well, this is great, and then you hear her actually sing, and I'm like, oh god. I wonder if this is how a lot of streamers' careers end in this world. But not everything is all fun and games. When Union and Evil, I thought they were a group of like radical terrorists, but they're an actual nation.
Yep.
And presumably somewhere, maybe you might know geography better than me, but there's a part where the Union's attacking the city and you see a billboard that they presumably hijacked.
Oh, let me see.
What? Do you know what state this is? That's presumably what I think the Union is at. Is that that's not Africa, is it?
That's South America, but that's like showing a picture of the globe. I don't think that's showing like that's not showing where Union's located, but rather it's just a globalization of it.
Oh, okay. So it's still an open book, and I'm guessing that's what Gray is trying to keep hidden for now, is where exactly the Union is at.
So like nerds like me who study geography can't spoil the story.
Right. How much do you want to bet this is probably futuristic?
Germany.
Germany? No, I was thinking because of Yasmin that it was Pakistan or like somewhere in the Middle East.
Could be Russia. Because remember, like all those all used to be Soviet controlled areas.
So this might be an alternate Soviet control.
Probably.
I wonder. Well, I know.
Majestic Prince. That's what it was.
What? Let me see. Sorry. For some insight, in case you guys don't know, which of course you don't, but Lewis was spending like at least the last 3 episodes of the show because he had just finished it. Trying to figure out what this other anime was that also had to deal with compatibility and stuff. But the war of New York rages on. The Union, you are seeing that the Union is not taking any prisoners. They are killing civilians and ignoring the ones who are supporting them.
Oh, like that guy who flashed the badge?
Yeah, that even his wife was like, what the fuck, you're a part of the Union? And releasing nanotechnology, which to them is this world's version of like biological warfare, where it's like,
and it's the embodiment of communism, and the individual working as a whole.
Yep. Oh god, it is probably gonna be Russia, and maybe that's or Germany. No, it wasn't.
No, Germany was fascism.
Oh, okay. Well, it might be Russia then. I'm just thinking because like. Yasmin was a citizen, but like Yasmin's a citizen, and Yasmin's obviously a type of Pakistan or Iranian, and but the actual Russian was like a resistance member who spent a good portion of her life fighting against the Union, and of course getting a lot taken away from her because she really does not like Yasmin for the first couple of episodes.
So it could be Russia.
It could.
Russia or Ukraine, because like she did say she was part of the Ukrainian special forces, but because of her gender fluidity, they kicked her out of the army.
Yeah.
Her.
There. We'll just stick with them.
I'm gonna go with a he, because like that's what they're currently identifying as right now.
Oh yeah, you're right. The body right now is a woman, but inside genlock, which we'll go into detail very soon. You're right, it's a woman. It's a male.
A really good looking male.
A really good looking K-pop looking.
Exactly! That's what I was thinking!
I'm more like, man, you look more Asian than... No, actually, they did everything in their power to make sure you knew Ito was a Japanese man. But, yeah, so everything's lost. Chase, of course, is Air Force pilot, and he's taking the fight to the sky, and... in a last-ditch attempt to keep the nano from spreading any further into New York, launches an EMP and then immediately gets struck out of the sky, presumably dying in a crash, 4 years later. I mean, like...
couple months after that.
Yeah, 4 years after that, thinking. And one of the big mysteries that was already going on by that point was how the mom and the little sister were suddenly not picking up their phones, and it is believed that, they died in the attack. I believe the mom is a Union scum. I totally believe she's connected to the Union somehow.
I know, because when you saw them, like, when she saw, like, the attacks, like, you saw her immediately try to get the house evacuated.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, and it was that look on her face, though, that was the specific look, it wasn't like, scared or I have to be tough and I hate these guys. It was kind of like, so it's begun.
Yep.
Dree, come on. It's like the mom's a part of the Union. or maybe there's gonna be a weird twist where the dad didn't die, but I feel that's kind of a scummy thing to keep the son from not knowing.
I know.
but yeah, it's like there is a weird mystery going on with the family because Chase is the only one that uses they might be dead, but everyone else uses gone, not found, missing. There's even one point where they get infiltrated by a Union spy who says, "I know someone who would love to talk to you."
Oh yeah. Let's see. ¿Estamos platicando ahorita?
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Speak Spanish?
No.
Oh, why no?
My mom was learning English
Oh.
by the time we were born, so.
No Spanish.
Yeah, no
It's
Spanish.
okay, no problem.
Why does it want
Okay, está bien, mijo. Okay, nice
Okay.
to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
Alright.
I have to pick up food.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we'll finish this up.
Well, we can. No, it's fine.
That might even be
Go for it.
too.
No, don't worry about it. I wanted to also take my time digesting this show as well, because
I know.
for 8 episodes, I have a lot to say about the show.
Right, which is why it will have to be non-linear. But yeah, it's like that was the one thing I kept thinking was like the mom or somebody, it has to be a part of Union because.
Or at least, like, crucial to them, because, like, again, like, what you mentioned about her face and everything as well, like, I didn't get the vibe that she was, like, running away or anything.
Mhm.
It was just, like, I felt she had a plan or something to do with it, or, like, just a realization and all. I was like, that's a little strange.
Yeah, like it looks really irritated, like, oh wait, they're doing it now or something. Yeah, and of course there's that line that Sinclair says saying like, yep, I know someone who would love to talk to you, and I'm like, who? This is 4 years later, his sister's obviously older, did his sister join Union? And hell, that's even who I thought the nemesis was. I'm like, did they somehow get the hands on genlock technology and like the sister was also compatible?
No, because like I remember like what they said about that is like, well, they do have mastery of nanotech. They probably just like invented like their own mech.
That's what I was thinking. It was just like a mindless Joan, which is why again it feeds onto how nightmarish this mech was. Why it was acting so animalistic and like random. Well, I mean, despite the fact that it knew exactly what it was going for and where the housing unit was put, but like, they have that mech. There's an evil mech in this show called the Nemesis that I think it's the first time ever since I got into anime and all of the other robot stuff I've seen, anime included and non-included. I think this is the first mech that I've legitimately found scary.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, can you think of one that was also, like, creepy? Like another mech that was creepy?
Creepy.
Because this thing, again, it's, like, animalistic, it's twitchy the way it moves.
Yeah.
And, like, the scene when they first introduce it is so... Like, it is flat out trying to create a simulation of what a nightmare is. You see like this purple smoke surrounding it.
Oh,
and
dude,
it's just a silhouette. And you're like, what the fuck is this thing?
Actually, I actually found it pretty badass looking. When I first saw it, I was like, it was definitely, creep factor was definitely up there with it.
Yeah.
Creep factor was definitely up with it, but I just only added to the badassery for me. As for like creepy mechs that I've seen,
I can't really think of any.
I can't really think of any right now at the top of my head either.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably one from like this one show you probably didn't watch. Was like Metal of the Dark.
No, I haven't even heard of that one.
That's a pretty good one, but that one's like, ooh, that one's a whole other batch of psychological cookies.
And then and another thing too is like I've never really been a big fan of like forearm anything forearm. I'm talking to you, Goro, from Mortal Kombat, because I'm like that would kind of get annoying, wouldn't it? But the show is able to also kind of focus on how it would fight with its forearms.
Yeah.
And I love that scene that also did creep the hell out of me, where Yasmin tries to punch it and it grabs both of her hands, and then you see the other two loose ones just like try to go for the head.
Dude, holy shit, man! And especially how that thing just started to tear up Cammy's Holland.
Yup.
That was brutality right there.
Yeah, because it's like, so they won't die if the mech gets torn up, but the Holon, which is the name of the mechs in this show, they do have fear sensors because they want, explain genlock in a bit. But just know that they are the robots by this point,
And the psychology behind it.
yeah, and they have they have all of the sensations. So even though Cammy didn't die, she had the sensation of a head being ripped off and the chest being violently torn open.
Exactly.
it was horrendous. But is there anything you want to cover?
So pretty much like, and like I'm glad you mentioned like genlock and everything, which is gonna go to the parallel to like what I just saw with this as well.
Yeah.
But in this universe, genlock is pretty much a newly developed technology where it involves not where the people have to pilot the mechs, but pretty much become the mechs.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it pretty much does this is, and even the professor says it as well during the show, is genlock pretty much requires a rather specific type of nervous system in order for it to be compatible with the mechs.
Yeah.
And the way it pretty much goes about it, they pretty much put you in like these stasis pods where like they attach your body and everything, and the whole aim of genlock is to not only to like put you to sleep and everything as well, but think of the movie Avatar, you know, with the CGI like avatars and everything.
Oh, how did I never think of that throughout the entire time of watching the show? You're right.
It pretty much transfers your consciousness to a new body. In this case, the mechs.
Yeah. Giant Ultron looking mechs. Not Voltron, Ultron from the Marvel movies. That's all I was thinking about when I saw them.
Dude, especially the skeletons
Mm-hmm.
before they get the armor.
Yeah. And that's actually another really big thing I like about the Holons is they're not, okay, we built a robot and we put a brain that you're going to be linking into, but it's like, the big thing is we built a skeleton. The entire skeleton is genlock. This thing is going to be able to feel, react, do anything your regular body can do because we don't want you burning up uptime. If we add anything else, then your mind is going to have to keep adjusting to that, which will burn up more uptime.
Mm-hmm.
That's like someone was saying that they might need to find a way to get their bodies, well, maybe the more they use them, but they need to find a way to get their bodies used to all these new mods they have, or else uptime's going to keep becoming a factor.
And that's pretty much where the neuroplasticity comes in, where like what was his name again? I forgot.
Dr. Rufus Weller.
Dr. Rufus Weller, there you go, explained why he chose the specific individuals to pretty much pilot them. So the idea behind genlock and why it even works and everything is because the individuals that he's pretty much screened, which is pretty much he took the samples from like numerous like health screenings and samples that they took when these people like joined the military or like pretty much went for health screenings.
Yeah, I again, like Rufus Weller's being voiced by David Tennant, who has always been shown to be like a really funny comedian. But I love that. I love that thing where it's just like, wait, so how do you test for compatibility? That's classified. No, I'm kidding. You were all test for years ago.
Yeah.
Do you think your health was the only thing being screened at the health screenings?
Dude, I love that, man. That was like so funny when he was like, well, that's classified.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Here's the files.
Yeah, Rufus Weller really is like a child. He's one of the most brilliant minds in, what was it called again? The entire government. What was it called? It was Paul something. Polity. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I forgot. I completely blanked on that.
yeah, but the guy's like a mad scientist without being, actually evil.
Yeah.
Like he's just out there and he has a very aggressive sense of humor, which is why almost every line that comes out of his mouth is a quip or a joke.
Yep.
But I never got annoyed, and those are the kind of characters that always get on me is all they do is quip, and there's nothing else to that character.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, and I love them as well, 'cause especially when he offered his explanations again, because going back to why those individuals were chosen specifically,
Mm-hmm.
he said he wanted to choose somebody who was like not only young but like show like pretty incredible like mental resilience and neuroplasticity. And for all of you guys wondering what all these big words mean, neuroplasticity pretty much means not only like the brain's resilience or how smart somebody is, but rather the brain's like innate ability for it to like pretty much form new connections in itself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Neuroplasticity is pretty much the reason why you're able to learn new things and pretty much make committed to memory after a while as well. And this is pretty much like this is actually pretty much cutting edge research and like what I'm learning right now is my major as well. Because neuroplasticity is actually one of the reasons to explain like why some people like handle Alzheimer's better than others. Because as we all know, Alzheimer's is pretty much a degenerative disease that pretty much eats away your brain.
Yeah.
Yet there's some old folks living in like certain areas where like whenever scientists like look at their brains, like yes, they're missing like a bunch of their brain matter, but they're still able to perform a majority of their functions they were like 20, 30 years ago. And a key part of it is like pretty much when you form a connection. Damn, I wish like there was visuals because I work with hands.
Right.
But whenever there's like a blockage, like you get two brain cells that are talking to each other, sending a signal constantly back and forth, like to like say like do a memory or like commit taste or whatever. What Alzheimer's does is pretty much block that signal, so like they're not able to get it so that those brain cells aren't able to talk. So what neuroplasticity does is that instead of using that same old path, those two brain cells just form another path using like different cells and pretty much use that to communicate. So neuroplasticity, god damn it!
So many interruptions this episode. So yeah, and basically one of the things that I can chime in. Oh, was it spam?
Yes.
Upstairs?
Yeah, it was for upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Not for me, it was for upstairs.
Alright. So go.
So yeah, so like neuroplasticity pretty much means not only for you to be smart, but just how well your brain's able to adapt when it comes into danger or just like when it's being fucked up.
Yeah. And that explains it then. So the reason why, when this blockage happens, that's the reason why the mind starts to go back to things before.
Yeah, well, it starts to degenerate pretty much and like pretty much gets stuck in its own ways because it's like that's the only thing its mind is able to do is just go with what it knows or what's available with it.
God, that is terrifying, man. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with like the DC show Young Justice, you know, the cartoon show that was on Cartoon Network like a few years ago.
Ooh, yeah.
So in the most recent season after it got resurrected from the dead, they had a character who was like an old woman who was going through Alzheimer's, and it really did that. I think that was like the first time I realized just how terrifying Alzheimer's can be. How like they're just talking to someone and she keeps asking them the same question. Hopefully we'll get to the point in the future where we can find a cure for Alzheimer's and not deal with it the way that was dealt with in that show where the guy had to kill his own daughter because she had Alzheimer's. But it really is just like, I don't know, that's the thing that I think is like one of my greatest fears in life is me coming down or someone else I know coming down with it.
Well, there's actually pretty much hope for that as well because like pretty much like research right now, it's like at its very infancy right now. So like it's really getting started right now. Like we're barely getting like scratching the surface as to understanding where it goes. And like damn, this show's bringing up a lot of good subjects here.
And hopefully it will not bring the ape apocalypse.
The apocalypse, oh dude.
The most recent Planet of the Apes movies. That's how it happened. It was the cure for Alzheimer's. We cured Alzheimer's, but also we created a super flu that kills the human host and increases the intelligence of primates.
No, yeah. And then again, going back to the mental health screenings, it's not something you can like create or like manufacture for people at this time. It's just something like whether you have it or not. It's like it's an innate ability. Just like how like not only like intelligence, but like a lot of these things depend on the genetics of a person. Not only like resilience, but also like pretty much any other thing as well. Hence again, the mental screenings.
Yeah, and
the health screenings.
Yeah, and that's what makes these 6 characters, 7 characters, but technically just 6.
Yeah, the other one was too old.
Yeah, the characters so unique is they're all young. Like the youngest member they have is 17.
And then finally explain why like in mecha shows like everybody's a fucking goddamn teenager when they pilot those things.
I know, but because again like I was trying to get at earlier before I got lost in my own point because of my own dumbness. But yeah, Gray is a huge fan of old school anime, hence why he has fucking the voice of Spike in here. Of all of the Japanese voice actors, he went for the ones of one of his favorite anime of all time.
Respect.
Yup. I still gotta give it to him for not like... Koichi Yamada has shown that he knows basic English. I'm so glad they didn't make him speak English.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool because that was something that the Ghost in the Shell movie did, is they had beat Takashi speak Japanese while everyone else was speaking English, but they didn't really quite explain it. This one is just flat out like...
Yeah, this guy's Japanese.
Yeah. The guy's Japanese, but the reason everyone can understand him is because they all have these contacts that are translating.
So they pretty much... So it's pretty much like that one meme I saw. It's like when the weeb goes to Japan, it's like, where are the subtitles?
Yeah.
Problem answered. Problem solved.
There needs to be one where it's like when the weeb goes to Japan and it's nothing but like subtitles, but the person needs to try to like walk over the subtitles. But it really is like they're super young. Cammy's 17, and that even leaves that a lot of them are like
20s probably.
20s, yeah. Yasmin and Chase, I could probably imagine, are maybe like 24, 25.
Which, by the way, I totally identify with Kazu, man. That guy knows it. He cooks his own meals, thinks about beer, which, ooh,
yeah.
You're in for a surprise for next week.
Oh god. Which also given like the reason why Kazu cooks is because he was a tank pilot who got demoted because he would not listen to like corporal command.
Yeah, because remember, the one thing about him is that he liked to charge in head first.
Yeah.
And pretty much was like he was built to be a melee fighter, man.
Yeah, he really was.
The embodiment of Panzerkunst.
Yes. he was built. He is flat out like, man, I like going in. He's me when I play games online. I just like to go in and fight things. But the difference with me and Kazu is I like to go in, but I like to go in with a plan. Kazu's just like, I'm gonna charge in, destroy everything around me, and that's that.
It's pretty much the tank in RPGs.
Yes.
I can respect.
So because he was deemed to like unsafe, they just demoted him to being the chef.
Yep.
And
for the Japanese self-defense force.
Yeah, and it wasn't until Rufus, because I didn't want to take up more time, and given if I had told you to watch these, we probably would have been stalling the show, or had to move the show. But there are these mini trailers, like only a minute and a half long, where they give you very brief instances of who these characters are. So yeah, they do explain that Kazu was a chef, that the Japanese government was about to just flat out push out altogether until Rufus and the Vanguard called saying that they needed him. And but the one character that I find the most disturbing when you think about how young these characters are is not Yasmin, sorry. It's
Cammy.
No, not Cammy. Valentina.
Oh, Valentina.
Because when you really think about it, Valentina was a child soldier because she says she had been fighting the Union for years. Like she was a part of the military, and then became a resistance fighter, and then was.
No, I'm trying to pronounce her last name right.
Okay.
Valentina Romanesian. I think I might got it.
I think you did get it. But yeah, they spent their entire life fighting. I mean, they were probably fighting even younger than Cammy, which is why she has such a strong hatred towards Yasmin, who was a citizen of the Union
before she seeked asylum.
Yeah, because she accidentally turned her parents into the government
as intellectuals.
What does that mean? Does that mean against the government or?
No, whenever it's like somebody turns in whenever somebody turns in anybody as intellectuals of the government, it just means they're living in an oppressive regime, which. When they said that, I'm like, God, they're taking a stab at the Middle East, man.
Yeah.
Because whenever you're living in an oppressive regime and everything, the one thing that dictators hate is people who develop as intellectuals. Because here's your 101 on dictatorship. The reason why dictators hate intellectuals so much is because they think. When people start thinking, that's when they start saying that. That's when they start questioning everything around them.
Oh no!
So, what better way to instill doctrines other than to get rid of the intellectuals and then just make everybody into mindless sheep?
Oh God, that's awful. So basically, her parents were outed because they were. Oh God.
because they were not conforming.
That's horrible. My God, what the? Oh, that's dark. But you want to know something even darker?
Just check out the Cambodians with Pol Pot.
Oh,
There's a lot of different things as well in the Soviet Union for a time until they needed those intellectuals for the space race.
wait. Is Cambodia also a regime?
No, it used to be under Pol Pot.
Oh, okay. Because when you really want to think about it. Wait, do they not talk? Yeah, here we go.
I have to.
When you really think about it, this is.
I think she looks lovely. Did you use the
That's kind of really dark now when you think about it, because Yasmin is a woman who is very strong looking and has her hair cut short, but her putting her online avatar, still wearing the hijab, still having long hair, looking very effeminate, still kind of shows that deep down she's still somehow holding to her old
Culture, pretty much.
yeah. But just like people look, it's a religious thing, I know. But the hijab, that's a sign of ownership, a type of oppression towards women there. So the fact that Yaz still has that in her VR world still shows that she does not yet feel completely free.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they have that scene when they're getting invaded by the Union, that Rufus had to basically tell her time to fly again, little dove. And she looked scared that she had to do it again.
Yeah, and pretty much again as well, like, ooh, there's so many source materials you can like read about like the hijab as well. There's this one visual novel that I read in like GCC in English 101. I'm having trouble remembering it right now, but it talked about like when the hijab was first introduced in like schooling systems for little girls, because they wanted to get to know, because at the time like there was an uprising. And then like pretty much I think it was in Iran or Afghan or Pakistan, I forgot where.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much they overthrew the dictatorship they had, replaced it with another like Iran. It was Iran.
Oh.
When they introduced back the Raj, when he pretty much brought back the whole religious meaning of the hijab and everything, and tried to make it like bring it back into school and everything. But then the little girls, when they saw the hijab because they were raised at a time when it wasn't mandatory for them to wear it all the time, just because they were living under a different regime from like pretty much for like a puppet government. And when that got overthrown and they brought back the previous leader, he reinstalled it back into their school system. And when the little girls saw that again for the first time, they just thought it looked ridiculous because they're like, oh, what's this thing?
Oh God, this is a visual novel?
Yeah, this is I forgot the name of it because it was in my English 101 class. But this was pretty much made by a woman who now lives in the United States and pretty much made her story. They even made a movie for it.
Oh, I'm gonna look this up.
I'm trying so hard to remember what it was.
Yeah, and on the subject of like war, this show also kind of shows you that this isn't this is a fantasy world and they're fighting a fictional evil government, but they don't pull away from the fact that this is still war.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a big whimsical war where towns are being destroyed but people are okay. They're still withholding. Gray is putting in his own thoughts of what he always thought of war and how he eyes the government and how media is taking it in today, with what I still think is one of the greatest lines that ever happened in this show.
Oh, the doctor talking about
Yeah, the doctor.
when he had his thoughts about what he wanted to use genlock for, and then the war happened.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was my favorite as well.
needless aggression, unscrupulous greed?
Yeah.
Right there, yeah.
I've only seen it before in the news feeds.
You get numb to it when all you see are vids going by.
Needless aggression, unscrupulous greed, unchecked hate. To have the images, the headlines incessantly thrust at you, hour after hour, years at a time, you normalize to it. They want you to go numb, become indifferent, or lose yourself in distractions, for it to feel like the evil in this world and all its machinations are too big to challenge. That loss of control leads to despair, to re-engage, to claw back even the tiniest sense of control. You don't have to save the world. You just have to make a difference where you can, with the opportunities you are given. That's all I'm asking.
These ideals, you make it sound so simple.
It's not. I had such high hopes for how genlock could be used to expand communications, understanding, improve the human condition, all its potential. And of course, the first thing we do is weaponize it. But maybe, just maybe, if we're made to fight, we can apply it a new way. Save more lives, protect those who can't protect themselves, buy some time for others to end the war. And after that, who knows what we can achieve together?
And build a better peace.
Yeah.
And this brings me actually back on the This actually brings me back on the subject of what we discussed in my psych class as well. Because we actually were watching a comedian. I forgot his name already. I'm forgetting so many things right now.
Was he a big name comedian?
He's like one of the. He was like the Scottish Irish one.
Fuck, I don't know. I remember back in the day, I knew so many comedians.
But pretty much what he was talking about is like how this is like one of one of the things he was running up with. All of a sudden, like, you know how we always have like this face where we talk about like all the things in here, but then there's like always like that thing in the back of my mind that always says, but maybe. And then he goes to list about 3 things about it. So he goes to list about the 3 things regarding slavery. There was slavery, war, and I forgot the last one.
9/11?
No, it was something else. But like going back to everything like that as well. So like especially his thought on war and everything. So like he said, like on the surface, like whenever he talks to people, it's like saying like yes. Like whenever I go over, it's like yeah, war is bad and everything. Like I think like always like it's a tragedy whenever we have to send our sons overseas and everything. And he goes, but maybe, like hold on everybody, because like that's when people start to giggle or start to talk in the background.
Yeah.
It's like, but maybe it's like give me a second, but maybe think about all the advances that we've made as well because of wartime. Think about all the technologies we've developed as well and everything, and he kind of made a point about this as well because like he even got the audience to join in as well. Like remember, every one of you's already in this boat already when I talked about slavery. So you guys lost your get out past the moment you started laughing about slavery.
Yeah.
And he was talking pretty much about how a lot of things how a lot of the things we built came pretty much at an ugly cost as well. It's like yeah, he was talking about like with slavery and everything. And it was like such a tragedy how we had to we pretty much like had to enslave people, not only just like black people as well, but like in terms of also like you also got the Hebrews in Egypt and everything like that as well. Like
And how even long ago, even like the Scottish or the Irish were being discriminated against.
Exactly, and he said, but look at what it cost and everything. Like look at the Great Pyramids of Giza. Like all of these were possible because of what we did to other human beings. Now, what he says like now this doesn't mean I support it and everything, but it just says like, but it's food for thought to think exactly what adversity can do to humans as well, and it goes really greatly with that professor's speech with Dr. What his name?
Dr. Weller.
Dr. Weller, because I want to call him Doctor Who so much now.
Oh god.
It's messing with my head now, but it goes greatly with Dr. Weller says as well, because a lot of the technology he was developing and everything, if it wasn't for the war, he probably may have not even gotten the resources or the attention to develop it in time as well.
That is true. All they had was was one backer by the name of Mark Holcroft who was supporting the idea.
And it's probably Elon Musk.
Definitely Elon Musk. But it wasn't until I know her first name was Maria. I'll look up the. Actually, what's the name of the commander of the show? I know it's Maria something, voiced by Monica Rial, but I'll keep my own thoughts on her to myself.
You got it wrong. It's Raquel Marine. Raquel Marine.
Raquel?
Colonel Raquel Marine.
Oh, okay, she's named after my cousin. So Raquel Marine, who like saw genlock and said, "I want this. I will give you whatever else you need." Even going as far to 3D print armor for them, build weapons big enough for the Hollands to use. But yeah, it's like he even said it himself, is I just created one of the greatest things that could help bring the world together. Help the world in so many ways that we can't even imagine right now. And of course the first thing we did was turn it into a weapon. I forget who, I don't know if I heard this from a movie, but I remember one time I heard someone say, one day we will create the cure for cancer, and the first thing on everyone's mind will be, how can we weaponize it?
Ooh, that sounds so familiar.
Isn't it? That's why I'm like, I heard this from somewhere. Was it from someone? Was it from a book? Was it had to be from something, because that is way too good to just be in my mind for no reason.
No, and it pretty much goes close to like what Einstein says and everything as well. Because I remember like one thing that Einstein says, like I was like, I don't know when World War III will be fought, but I know for sure by the time World War IV comes around, we're gonna be fighting it with sticks and stones.
That's what my dad told me. Yeah, so my dad got it from that. But yeah. Again, if we want to fight a war and win, maybe best not to use nuclear death bombs. And I like how Albert Einstein was the one to say that, because he's the one that built it in the first place.
That was Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer?
Yeah, Oppenheimer's the one who built it. Einstein was just the one who theorized about it.
They're both monsters. I still love you, Einstein, because I heard you write your whole in real life. But yeah, it's like, and I mean, given the idea of genlock is cool, the more they talk about it, because they talk about how it could become a mass brainwave, how we could use it as a way to link with other people. We could definitely use this to end wars. Is, hey, Kim Jong-il, is it not Il? Kim Jong-un, hold my hand. Now do you know everything we're going through? And I know everything you're going through. This is how we can work it out. Like all of the amazing ways we could have used this to help. Of course, we are building giant robots and using it to fight in a war. Which, again, just sticking to how pessimistic the show was, we do see that them turning it into a weapon got turned against them too when they end up getting the first haul on, including the first chase, stolen by the Union.
Exactly. And for me as well, it's funny because like I see what genlock is doing pretty much as well when it comes to like especially when dealing with war and everything, because that's exactly what the creator of Gundam was like originally intended for the Gundam series as well. Because when the creator of Gundam first like made the show and everything as well, pretty much developed Gundam and everything, his whole idea behind Gundam was to like pretty much show people like the terrors of war, pretty much showing like how it impacts like not only just like the soldiers out fighting as well, but just society. But people were so into like the Gundams and everything, they completely missed the point. And were just thinking like, holy shit, mechas!
Yeah, like one thing I'll link onto this video is Giguk's history of the mecha.
Yes.
But he talks about how originally Gundam was nothing but war politics. It was nothing but politics with mechas in it. And even then, the mechas were tanks. They weren't big, they didn't do anything big or crazy. Definitely not to the level that Unicorn and Onward would eventually take them to.
00.
Yeah, 00. Or that one where they were chibi.
Oh, build.
No, not build. There was one where this kid gets transported to a world where the Gundams are living things.
Oh shit, I know that one.
I'm gonna look for my Daniel knows. I'll ask him and send it to you. But no, there are ones where they were just actual like things. It was 3D animated.
Oh fuck.
And they were like actual living beings. And that one also had like, you could tell the person like Dragon Ball because it was nothing but crazy moves and stuff. But again, it's like genlock even kind of starts off like that. Even going as far to that all of the original designs of the mechs look like, shoot, what's the Gundam called? The specific number of the famous Gundam?
00?
RX something. Yeah, but
I'll search it up because
I know the name of the actual Gundam is. The only reason I noticed the RX to an extent is because of Ready Player One, because it's in Ready Player One for a few minutes. But
oh yeah.
But it looks very much like something out of Gundam, and yeah, they start off as only using guns. Yeah, only using guns, being able to move around cities in a covert way, and it isn't until after they have a run-in with the stolen Holon and Nemesis, which the reason they call it the Nemesis is because it is the original Chase that we were introduced to at the beginning of the series, who was kidnapped, tortured, had his memory wiped, all of these terrible things done to him, to the point where he believed that the Vanguard was the enemy and they are holding his body hostage by a fake who he needs to kill and get.
RX 78 too.
There we go. Yeah, and they all, looking at that, they all very much look like him except with some of the shine taken away.
Yeah.
Like the little horns. But, yeah, and the entire time we find out that the Chase we were following was actually a copy of his mind. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I want to bring up too is all the little cookie crumbs that were thrown into the show that later all had a payoff. Like that whole, a lot of people had a problem when they're like, what did you think when they explained that Rufus suddenly made a method of the Vanguard becoming immune to the nanotechnology? Because that came out of nowhere. And I'm like, it didn't come out of nowhere. In episode 3, when Raquel is like, the Union took over one of your recruits with nanotechnology, and it's like, yeah, I had an idea about that, and then he gets cut off. Like, they set that up since episode 3.
Exactly, because the whole thing about the Union, like what they specialize in again as well, is like pretty much the nanotechnology about them as well. It's like thinking back to our Alito Battle Angel Battle Angel review and everything. Mm-hmm. It just shows how different technologies can develop when you have two different nations that pretty much work independent of each other as well. Because hell, look at even our history, like the U.S. versus the Soviet Union during the space race. Mm-hmm. Two completely different nations managed to build their own methods for pretty much getting into space. Although the Russians had to go really crazy and really creative because they were working on a tighter budget compared to the U.S.
They really did.
Which is like one of the funniest things like somebody joked about in terms of the space race. When first going into space, they pretty much ran into the problems like not having their pens work properly just because the fluid would not come out of the pen easily. So what did the United States do? Spent millions of dollars to develop a pen that could work on space, which is now known as the ballpoint pen. What did the Soviets use? A pencil.
But that's way more.
They decided to just switch to a pencil instead for space.
That's so much more resourceful than us. We spent millions of dollars on the ballpoint pen. Oh, god damn it. America, we still have the biggest dick in the nation. But the smallest brain. What?
No, we have a pretty good brain. We just don't use it in ways we're just not creative with it.
Exactly. America needs to learn about the whole think hard, not smart. No, think smart, not hard.
Work smart, not hard.
There we go.
And then pretty much again goes back to the classroom crisis thing as well. Where they had all the funding in the world.
Yeah.
And then they weren't getting results, but once adversity made them get as resourceful as they could get, that's when they were able to really crank out the magic.
Yep, and then it ended up realizing that the people trying to shut them down were also making mistakes they could take advantage of. Mm-hmm. But But that's the thing too. They never really show you how the polity is using nanotechnology. They just know that they are disgusted that the Union has weaponized it.
Yeah.
So I almost kind of want to know what we're using it for. Are we using it to build cities? Are we using it? Is that what's in the mechs? In the newly designed mechs that can be created? Is that why they don't get destroyed as much as the Vanguard?
Probably, if anything, they use it more as a commercial, industrial use, if anything. Because, as you notice, the 3D printers and everything, I imagine nanotechnology is probably used to, assemble things or, for constructional use.
Yeah, the original nanobots in Big Hero 6.
Yes! Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, how they were used for that, but instead they were used as weapons into, they were still building something, but it was like a death beam. It was like a death portal.
Yeah.
But yeah, and And like we know that nanotechnology is scary. I almost kind of wish they put a little bit more effect into when people got hit with the nanotechnology.
Oh man, that would have been gruesome. But hey, again, going back to like the Rooster Teeth thing, they pretty much used I can tell pretty much from the animation models that they use like already existing like assets that they had earlier before, and the fact that they pretty much like worked with what they had and still made it look visually appealing for 3D animation. I was like,
Yeah.
this is going in the right direction.
Yeah, and one of the more
Refrigerating water.
Thank you. One of the more kind of creepier things I realized, I don't know if you picked this up during the flashback, but when Dr. Well is telling Chase about how the Nemesis came to be and what really happened to him, you see that after they pulled Chase out of the crash, you started to see what looked like beehive holes, like purple beehive holes embedded in the skin, showing that the nanotechnology was nesting in him somehow.
And yeah, like the term they use is like it actually had infected him.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for... And here's another thing too. Like, if he hadn't been infected by nanotechnology to the point where it just killed parts of his body, we're talking about like... It's like when you cut off a hand and then you have to suture it. That's basically what happened. If not, they could have probably regenerated the body.
Yeah, and like that's what we were also mentioning as well. Is like when he saw his body for the first time, like when they showed it back to the Vanguard. It's like why is he like this? Like we tried to regenerate him, but due to the fact that he's been infected by the nanotech, this is the best we could do. It's like it was Chase even describes this when he was talking to fuck what was her name?
Yes?
No, when the one who was dating with.
Oh, Miranda.
Miranda. Like even like who was even telling her like this as well? It's like it was just a struggle to even get him to that point at the very least, to like even make sure it's stable. And even then, like the doctor didn't even know he was gonna make it this far.
and again, that's another thing that Rooster Teeth did a good job at hiding from you, which is why it's a good thing that Rooster Teeth never plays the openings before the show actually starts, at least on the first episode, because I had no idea that Michael B. Jordan's character was going to spend most of the time in a tank. Like, I just thought it was like, yeah, he's going to be here the whole time, but really he got Stephen Hawking. He really is just a mind in a tank, and it's like
A copy of the mind.
a copy of the mind in the tank. And it could, and again, it just kind of brings in how dark Gray is making this world, that one of the biggest name in the show is just a mind in a copy of a mind in the tank. And now, by the end of the show, it's just in the ether now. And hoping that he will not lose his mind to the fact that his brain needs to constantly keep adapting to genlock, and hope that he just doesn't slip away and go insane like the Nemesis did.
Yep. And then that's what like also they mentioned as well when they were fighting the Nemesis. The reason why it even got why it got to that point and everything is because like for those years that it's been that he's been captured, they pretty much kept him in isolation. And you know how he was talking about like the voices and everything as well. I pretty much can imagine that that's probably like Nemesis, the Union's way of pretty much trying to control him, if anything. Like pretty much keep his mind there to pilot the mech. But then also it's like pretty much using like their nanotechnology or like anything at all to make sure that he doesn't like fall out of line or anything.
Yeah, like again, how when he was about to attack Leon, who risked his life, risked his mind at least to do like a hostile takeover of the last remaining Holon they had, just to pilot it for a bit. We see that Miranda pops up, stops him from attacking, and he immediately softened up until something in his head was obviously tearing into him, which forced him to attack. But what he also meant with the voices too is when he joined the genlock, he was also linking with the other 5 combatants.
Yep.
Like, here's something that made me cringe. So I listened to this podcast group called Rooster Team Radio. They're a bunch of fans who sit around and they talk about Rooster Team shows. They're very funny people, and They're a good way of just, wanting to have people to hear talk about the show you like. And one of the guys in the Mark Donovan, he had a theory of what Nemesis was in episode 5, and that was the Union took the brain of Dree, put her inside a robot, and then used somehow another copy of his of Chase to go and kind of like multi-command it with her. And that's why he says lines like, "You haven't shut up since your birthday," and it's like, no, that's not what he meant at all. He meant there's an entire episode called The Second Birthday, which is what they called when a person linked into genlock for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's what he meant was, you guys haven't shut up since your birthday. I have heard you talk the whole time. And that's why when you saw in episode 6, he pops up and he says, "Why are there new voices in here? Why am I still here?" Meaning like, why am I hearing myself now?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is getting dark. And even then, I really do need to give it to Gray that I did not see that whole thing about the evil clone thing going, or at least the original.
No, man, dude. When I first saw that make appear, I just thought that was the information that the Sinclair clone collected when they were testing the Halons. But then I realized quickly, wait, but he died when he tried to genlock with it, which meant that he couldn't have gotten the exact data for how the procedure would work.
Yeah, he even the evil Sinclair even said you couldn't have waited 10 minutes, meaning I barely got anything that I needed. And yeah, so you're right. I thought it was like some giant nanotechnology they created, but we know it is a stolen Holon that does have nanotechnology helping with it to an extent. We even see that after it gets beaten down by them in episode 5, and after nearly getting destroyed in episode 6, that they had to give it a massive reconstruction. Yeah, it looked like a flat-out spider, and I did not like that at all.
Are you gonna have enough time? 6:48.
No, I'm probably gonna have to call it here.
No, that's fine. If anything, we can do a part 2, and this will probably save you for your liver if anything. Because now that we talk about the show and everything, I really want to go more in depth about the world building and more importantly, the nanotech as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes, if anything, right now, if you want, we can call it we can call it. Start it again with a part 2, because oh my god, there's so much more I want to talk about with the show.
I could tell we're not scratching the surface. There's so many things I want to talk about.
And then I guess I'll pretty much tell you right now what my pick for next week will be.
Yeah.
You're gonna enjoy this, Danny.
And we're doing it next week. We'll do the part 2 after. Does that sound okay?
We can even do the part 2 next week. We can do the part 2 next week.
Oh.
And afterwards we can do my show.
Oh, okay. If you want to do that. Oh god.
You're gonna need yourself to prepare, because after part 2, you're gonna need to rest.
Why? What are we doing?
We're doing Grand Blue!
But why are we turning it into a drinking game?
Cause it's Grand Blue!
Oh god, I know nothing of Grand Blue, so tune in the week after? Next week?
Yeah, the week after is gonna be Grand Blue, so next week is gonna be part 2. And I'm gonna freeze these babies right now.
Okay, so yeah people, I had a feeling this was gonna happen. Again, I got too impatient to wait to go see Jordan Peele's Us, so that's why I have to go and make the movie right now. But yeah, so tune in next week for part 2 of Genlock, and I'll see you next time. Yeah, we even deprived them of the opening.
Yep. Don't worry, next week we'll put the opening.
Yeah.